Hi, I'm Bill Patton, and I declare 2020 to be the year of being agreeable. This is my challenge to myself and anyone else who might take it. I will go into detail about what it means for me to be more amiable. Being agreeable doesn't mean that we must engage in groupthink or walk in lockstep. General Patton famously said, "If everyone is thinking the same, then someone isn't thinking." We can, however, use a lot of great listening and questioning until we reach the best answers. That requires more of a conciliatory nature. You and I may graciously disagree or politely pursue an opposing agenda. With my closest friends, I feel a strong obligation to tell them if I think they were wrong about something. We are friends because we are unified in wanting to be better. Among the know-it-alls, there seems to be a distinct lack of grace, disallowing other stakeholders from holding divergent views. This type of behavior has been directed at me, often by so-called leaders. But we are still teammates, and we aren't a very cohesive team. Our team is tennis, and we are against the other sports for time and attention. We're treading water, losing, or slowly gaining ground. It depends on who's reporting. In my area, hashtag high school tennis, there's an uptick in participation. In the high school tennis arena, there is greater unity. Do we work, talk, and collaborate like teammates? Given the many splinters, walls, and estrangements in our game, it's time to reverse those trends, coming together as a unit. Getting to yes takes time and effort, and agreeing on no takes patience and grace. As for me, I will discuss with you until the cows come home or until you lose interest. Our sport faces many challenges from many different directions, and either we pull together as a team to face them and win the day, or we continue to fight each other and watch our sport slowly dwindle against its competitors. I choose to team up with Rich Neher, with you, the reader, with any stakeholder who brings value to the game. A quote that has been attributed to many different people through the ages strikes well at the spirit of agreeability and has appeared in many forms. It's amazing what you can accomplish when no one is worried about who gets the credit. I first heard that quote in 1983 in the context of a local high school basketball team that did not have a star player, yet went on to win the state basketball championship. On that team, each player played a vital role. Part of our problem industry-wide is that we rely too often on star players, and too many people think they are that person. We operate under the false assumption that a super brain trust will develop a dynamic program that will miraculously grow the sport, and that we ought not to question them. A lack of questioning does not amount to an increase in agreeability. We probably don't need to do much more than just get along well and protect the integrity of the game. One thing that strikes me about the most successful people that I've met in my life is how humble they are. We all can assume that type of humility. They seem devoid of the superstar mentality. I humbly submit the challenge to everyone to make this year the year that we get to yes. In the good book, there's an admonition that each one should do everything in their power to be at peace with every other one. Currently, our sport suffers from a tremendous amount of infighting, rivalries, agendas, public and private, egocentric, and profit motives. Nobody's perfect. I have those too, but in 2020, I'm putting being agreeable first. My wife wishes for me to put my budget first. We need to have grace with each other and find things that we can agree on. If we can agree that we love the sport more than the money we make from it, more than the prestige we gain from it, more than the power we wield in it, or more than the working out of our own inner demons, then we can get somewhere. Do we love the sport more than these things? In the great quagmire of the ITF, the USTA, the USPTA, the PTR, the TIA, the manufacturers, the court constructors, and other viable organizations that seek to assist in growing the sport for their own gain, we need to come together to find value, unity, and a common purpose. Our mission is to grow the game. We have hard choices to make if we're going to make that happen. With the current state of disunity in the game, fragmented and duplicated efforts, we see a lot of wasted energy and frustration. Soren Kierkegaard is one of the most influential theologians and philosophers in Western thought. He of the bright side of existentialism. Of course, we all have finite starting points in life, but Kierkegaard would say that what really determines the bulk of our destiny is our choices. Along the way, the myriad of forks in the road where we choose this way or that creates an opportunity for us to become more intimate with God or the spiritual part of ourselves, or more alienated. We become closer to the people who have the same interest, or more distance because we don't agree about the way forward. Even with ourselves, we come to greater knowledge of our own motives and work to purify those, or we drop into defense mechanisms which allow us to become more self-absorbed, pursuing personal and private agendas. Our choices along those lines are not seen on spreadsheets or on PowerPoint presentations, but they can be seen in how we conduct a meeting and each precious contact with another stakeholder, large or small. It's very easy to read all of the above and tacitly agree with the sentiments that are so positive and say, I do that. So difficult to stop alone. On closer reflection, realize that not only have we been wrong, but we've been wrong for many years. So I'm dedicated to owning my stuff. I want to challenge you to own your stuff. But after a time of self-acceptance, move forward to embrace someone else. In this year of being agreeable, I will not be a gatekeeper. I will look to give opportunities to people who have not had them granted to them before. I will affirm those who have been disenfranchised. I will seek new opportunities for myself and hope that the gatekeepers allow me in. I will say yes to many things. I've said yes to writing books. I've said yes to the California Tennis Coaches Association. I have said yes to growing my YouTube channel, but I will say yes to as many invitations that I can afford to attend. Another way that I will be agreeable is to look past what my eyes tell me. I will let the scales fall from them. I see many times in groups of tennis people a sort of calculation being performed, where the person moves towards others in the crowd, sizing them up for relative value with whom they might speak, as though people have scores dangling over their heads and the obvious choice is to spend time with people who deliver more value. While it's only human nature to ignore those we feel can do nothing for us, our industry could really use a shot in the arm of giving back. If the poem by Rudyard Kipling, which famously has 2 lines that greet each player before they enter center court at Wimbledon, also contains the following lines that describe someone who's truly arrived at maturity. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much. In the year of being agreeable, it's this attitude of all hands on deck, all hands matter, every stakeholder is worthy of mutual and equal respect. Let's all agree that we love the game and work to remove every interference that harms the mission of growing it together. I pledge to be agreeable, and I'm inviting you to join me.